Right now at noon, we're tracking the chance of some snowfall the next couple of days. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
Plus, President Trump doubling down on tariffs, his new warning for trading partners following his loss at the Supreme Court. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Spreiter. Right now, the Dane County Sheriff's Office says a man was shot in the town of Blooming Grove. It happened on Gannon Avenue around 7:20 last night. According to the Sheriff's Office, a 24-year-old man was driving south when a sedan sped up behind him. When the man started to turn onto Fury Avenue, he was hit by gunfire and crashed. The victim then ran to a nearby home of an acquaintance who called 911. The man was taken to UW Hospital for treatment. If you have any information or video evidence of this incident, you are asked to call Madison Area Crime Stoppers. This afternoon, we're also looking into a stabbing incident that happened around 8:15 last night on Madison's west side. Dane County Dispatch tells us it happened on Grand Canyon Drive near the Beltline. That's right by the U-Haul facility by Westtown Mall. Dispatch tells us someone walking by called about a disturbance. We're unsure if anyone was injured, but are working to find out more. One person has been arrested in connection with a Walworth County death investigation. The Sheriff's Department says it happened Saturday night in Elkhorn. Deputies responded to a disturbance call near Pine Court and Balsam Drive. That's by the Evergreen Golf Club. First responders say two men were injured during a fight. Authorities later found a 62-year-old woman dead inside the home. Investigators have not released how the woman died or identified the person arrested. The Sheriff's Department says this appears to be an isolated incident. Right now, a family is without their home after a fire on Madison's southeast side. Firefighters were called to Valor Way Sunday afternoon for reports of a fire. When they got there, smoke could be seen from outside the home. Nobody was inside at the time. Crews were able to put out the fire before entering. A dog was found and released into the care of some neighbors. No word yet on what caused the fire. A first warn traffic alert for downtown Madison as construction resumes today on two streets around the Capitol Square. East Main and South Hancock are now closed for underground infrastructure work. East Main will be closed to through traffic between South Webster and South Franklin streets. South Hancock will be closed between East Wash and East Main. The South Hancock Street cul-de-sac will also be closed. Officials have not announced how long this phase will last. The full project is expected to be completed by June 25th. If you live on Madison's near west side, you have the opportunity to meet your alder today. There's a meet and greet at the Midtown Police District from 6 to 8. Regina Vidiver for District 5, Bill Tischler for District 11, and Tag Evers for District 13 will all be there. You'll be able to ask questions and share your ideas with them. If you're interested, you can find more details on the City of Madison website. You must RSVP for this event. Let's get a first check of your first warn forecast. Here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Hi, Jacob.
Hey Josh, as we take a look at the current radar, we're still seeing some light flurries for parts of the area, but we're not really going to see much in terms of falling snow today, as we will see a little bit more sunshine throughout the afternoon. Now, temperatures are still on the colder side, 20s for much of Dane County, a little bit better compared to yesterday, but what makes today a lot better compared to yesterday is the winds aren't nearly as bad. Most of the area below 10 miles per hour. Yesterday, we had gusts up near 30 miles per hour throughout most of the day. Now, throughout the afternoon, again, we're going to continue to see a good amount of sunshine, but those temperatures going to kind of hover where they are right now, around 24, 25 degrees. Not too cold, but still below average for this time of the year, as we now are in the time of year where we start to see those average highs get back into the middle 30s. And then as we get to the overnight hours, also going to be a cold night, lows dropping into the teens. Thankfully, we're not expecting the winds to pick up overnight. They could pick up tomorrow, but those winds tomorrow will actually help warm the temperatures up, as we will see highs getting back into the 30s. But we are going to see a chance of snow tomorrow, with a few other chances of snow in the forecast. So I'll track all of those chances coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, we'll see you then. Thank you. Right now, President Trump is pushing ahead with new tariffs in the wake of the Supreme Court decision that wiped out many of his previously announced ones. Over the weekend, the president announced he would be raising global tariffs to 15% using Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. But those can only remain in effect for 150 days. U.S. Trade Representative Jamison Greer was pressed on Face the Nation about what happens when 150 days is up.
In that time, we're going to conduct investigations that can allow us to impose tariffs if it's justified by the investigation. So we expect to have continuity in the president's tariff program. We know that these laws work. They're tried and true.
Meanwhile, trading partners around the world are facing new uncertainty. The European Union convened an emergency meeting amid the confusion. The president also says he doesn't need congressional approval for the new 15% tariff, saying that has already been approved in the past. Still ahead for us on News 3 Now at noon. If you have a question or concern about your plants or garden, now's the time to send us your questions via email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will join us later in the broadcast with the answers. But first, after the break, what came out on top of the weekend box office, plus why there was confusion at the nation's airports over the weekend.
U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer says he expects U.S. trading partners to stand by trade deals struck by the White House despite last week's Supreme Court decision striking down President Trump's unilateral tariffs. The High Court ruled the president does not have the authority to impose them under a 1977 federal emergency powers law. The federal government says it will stop collecting duties under that law starting February 24th. On that same date, President Trump says he will impose a 15% worldwide tariff on countries for up to 150 days. There was confusion at the nation's airports over the weekend after the Department of Homeland Security had initially announced that TSA PreCheck and Global Entry would be temporarily paused due to the partial shutdown affecting the department. DHS later reversed course and said TSA PreCheck expedited lines would continue operating following pushback from airlines, though Global Entry's Trusted Traveler program remains suspended. And animated sports film GOAT topped the weekend box office in North America, scoring an estimated $17 million. Wuthering Heights slipped to second, earning more than $14 million. Biographical sequel I Can Only Imagine 2 debuted in the third spot with $8 million. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Carissa Lawson.
Here's the stock report at the noon hour. The Dow is down 739 points, NASDAQ down 260, and the S&P 500 down this hour 80. Pam has today's farm numbers next, and Jacob is tracking the first warn forecast. Then later on Live at 4, what to be out on the lookout for when it comes to chronic kidney disease and why many people don't realize they even have it. Welcome back this afternoon. Let's check in now with Pam Yankee for the Midwest Farm Report. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Josh. So lots of different things to recap for you from the weekend. We'll start off with last Friday's USDA milk production report for the month of January. Numbers not quite as big as the trade had expected, although Wisconsin still saw a healthy uptick in January milk production. There's also more milk cows that are coming back onto line. I know a lot of our Wisconsin dairy producers are bracing for the worst. At this time of the year, when those mama cows start to have those baby calves, we see what we call a spring flush of milk production, meaning more milk coming to the marketplace. So we saw that the 24 major dairy producing states as of January had not quite 4 percentage points increase in milk production. Wisconsin a little bit better than 2. California was the big one that we were a little bit worried about. They came in better than 4. Texas, another one that saw some fairly decent weather conditions, helped them to increase their milk production. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on how things progress through the spring. Progressed fantastic during Compeer Financial's groundbreaker event, wrapped up in Elkhart Lake on the weekend. Want to congratulate Brianna and Dylan Handel from Barneveld, selected the 2026 Groundbreakers of the Year. This couple has been very resilient, sticking to it. Started with just 16 cows in their early years. Now they've seen that herd basically triple. They're actually now looking to move from their Barneveld location to another dairy after some challenges with stray voltage. But we give them all the credit in the world for their resiliency. Dylan and Brianna Handel from Barneveld, the 2026 Compeer Financial Groundbreaker Award winners. Congratulations. And a lot of congratulations to go around after the weekend's Wisconsin FFA alumni activity that was at the Marriott West in Middleton. The blue and gold, the adults behind the blue and gold. And remember, these folks, some may never have been involved with the FFA, but decided to support it as adults. Terry Costello, the executive director of the Wisconsin FFA alumni, says we're now at more than 32,000 2,000 members strong. They saw a 2,000 member increase last year alone, 10 new alumni chapters across the state, and now they're going to start working on trying to offer FFA license plates for Wisconsinites to tap into the blue and gold power. If they get everything going in their direction, that would benefit the FFA to the tune of about $25 for every FFA license plate that Wisconsinites decide to invest in. We'll see how that campaign goes and keep you posted as far as that. So markets today are again kind of keeping an eye on what's going on with this on again, off again tariff discussion. Although agriculture is in it for the long run, I'm getting a lot of phone calls from people saying, what's the reaction? Right now, I think it's just wait to see which specific countries are going to react to the latest announcement from President Trump on putting in escalated tariffs under a new authority area. So like I said, story yet to be told. Dairy markets today in Chicago. Well, we had a good run on Friday. After those milk production reports were released, we're still hanging on at least. Barrel cheese unchanged today at $1.49. 40-pound block cheese up a penny and 3/4 at $1.51.5. After a 9-cent gain on Friday, butter today down 5 3/4 to $1.81 per pound. But like I said, Josh, when it comes to the tariffs and agriculture's response, right now it's let's wait and see and try to figure out the details commodity by commodity. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah, a lot to watch this week. Pam, good to see you this afternoon. Thank you. Let's get to your certified most accurate forecast with First Warn meteorologist Jacob Montesano. A lot to watch with the forecast, too.
Yeah, we're going to see a few chances of snowfall this week. First one being tomorrow, then again Wednesday night. Looking a little bit later in the week, we'll have a brief warm-up for Friday, but beyond Friday, we're going to see most of the next 10 days feature highs in the 30s and in some cases 20s like we're seeing today. So as we take a look at the chances of snowfall, I'm not really going to see it for the rest of today as we'll see plenty of sunshine, but then clouds will increase overnight. Still might see some clear skies at times overnight. Then we get to the day on Tuesday, and once we get towards the late morning, we'll start to see some snow showers move through our area, continuing in the afternoon. The best chance of snow will be for areas north of Madison. The further south you're located, the less likely you will see snow. And areas to the north of Madison could definitely see some minor accumulation, but Madison and anywhere south of Madison certainly not going to see anything more than maybe a dusting to 1/4 of an inch. Then we'll see plenty of sunshine for Wednesday. And then as we get towards Wednesday night, we'll have another chance of snow, although the track of this next system Wednesday night continues to push further south. So right now it does look like the heaviest snow will stay to the south of our area. And in general, the best chance of snow for our region will be in far southwest Wisconsin. And it's kind of going to be opposite of the snow tomorrow, with areas further south having a better chance than areas north, whereas tomorrow the best chance will be for areas to the north. But it looks like the heaviest snow in general will stay south across Iowa and Illinois. Then as we get towards Thursday, we are going to see the sunshine return with the snow chances kind of fizzling out. So looking at the accumulation forecast, Tuesday, mostly less than an inch, but maybe up to an inch will be the accumulation forecast for Tuesday. Then as we get towards that Wednesday system again, far southwest Wisconsin will have the best chance of accumulation, maybe as much as 1 to 3, possibly a bit more for areas further southwest. But notice our area mostly going to stay less than an inch for both of those snow chances combined. And looking at the snow chances going forward, we are going to be dry to end the work week with some snow chances returning for the weekend. However, a lot can still change between now and then as it is 6 to 7 days out. So looking at the temperature forecast again today, we're going to have highs in the 20s, overnight lows dropping into the teens. Pretty quiet conditions until we see that snowfall tomorrow. And even without the snow, we're going to see plenty of cloud cover. High temperatures will be warmer though, as we'll see a little bit of a breeze pick up, but the winds will be out of the south, which will help warm those temperatures up. And then as we look at the 10-day temperature forecast, we'll have a very brief and pretty dramatic spike for Friday, but then those temperatures are going to cool right back down for the weekend. A lot of highs in the 30s and 20s rather than the 50s that we're going to see Friday. And a big reason for that spike is the winds that we are going to see pick up for Friday, Saturday will very much dictate those temperatures, with the southerly winds Friday and northerly winds Saturday. So unfortunately, although there is a 50-degree day in the forecast, it's right now just one day. And as I mentioned, we could see those snow chances return as we get towards the weekend. So still feeling a little bit more like winter over the next 10 days. But at least we got one good day, and at least we don't have anything bitterly cold. Not as cold as what we saw yesterday. Those temperatures where those wind chills were below zero this morning and yesterday morning. None of that in the 10-day forecast.
150-degree day is better than none. All right, Jacob, thank you. The First Warn Weather team has been busy working on an informative and exciting weather special. It's time to get severe weather ready. The special features how watches and warnings are issued, the latest research on southern Wisconsin's severe weather season, what goes into issuing alert days, and how the First Warn Weather team conducts severe weather drills and more. It airs this Wednesday night at 6:30. News 3 now, and Vortex Optics are looking to recognize a local veteran who's going above and beyond in service to others. From now until March 22nd, we're accepting nominations for local veterans making a positive impact in their community. Then from March 30th through April 12th, you'll vote. The winner will be announced on April 15th. And you have just a few days left to nominate your favorite restaurants, businesses, and people for Madison Magazine's Best of Madison. Just head to channel3000.com, write in your nomination in each category, and you can nominate once per day. The last day to do this is February 28th. Just ahead of noon, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. You can email them to tips@channel3000.com. We'll get the answers next. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. Email them to tips@channel3000.com. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
So you've got a little fun fact for me here today?
Yeah, so St. Patrick's Day is
right around the corner.
Right around the corner, right? And it's going to accelerate all the spring stuff. So this, what we think of as a shamrock, is not a clover, it's an oxalis, but this is what everybody uses as a house plant, because of course clover is not a house plant.
Yep.
Right. So this is an oxalis. We've got like different varieties in the store. They're really fun to hang around. They live forever. My sisters have one that my grandmother had. So, but I can tell you that for 4-leaf clovers, that is not the maximum number of leaves that you can find on a clover.
What's the maximum?
So somebody in Japan found one. It had 63 leaves.
63?
On one stem.
That's
and that's the world record. And there's also, I think at a library, I think the Fitchburg Library has got a collection of clovers of all different kinds. So you should check it out.
I'll have to look into that.
Yes.
Awesome.
I think it's Fitchburg.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes.
Learning something new. All right, let's get to the questions here this afternoon. We're going to start with Colleen. Colleen wants to know, what's the best way to repot orchids? Is it okay to repot while they are blooming? How do we get new blossom stem growth?
Okay, so let's start off. It is not okay to prune them when they're blooming. It's just too much stress on the plant. So you want to wait till that blooming is done. You cut the stalk back. When you repot it, it's not necessarily that you need a bigger pot. You just need refreshed potting medium. And you can do chips, there's some like volcanic rock kind of mixes, or you can do moss, but you don't repot them in dirt. They're not terrestrial plants, they grow in trees. So you can come in, we've got all kinds of different options for you for the repotting. And then to get it to flower is a twofold thing. It's mostly light. They need a lot of light to respike. And it's good to use a bloom boosting fertilizer that's formulated for orchids.
Okay. All right. Question number 2 comes from Maynard. Maynard asks, do you recommend repotting a cactus that has never been repotted in more than 50 years? That's a long time.
Yes. So cactus have very small root systems, and their soil is not very fertile. So they're not getting stuff from the soil. It's usually a much sandier, chunkier mix. And so what it might just need to be is refreshed. Without seeing your cactus and the fact that you have a 50-year-old cactus, I would say wait until the weather gets a little bit more clement, bring it into the plant desk, and have Scott or Brittany take a look at it and see, they can give you some advice on what to do with it. I'd hate to say something over the television without seeing it and then have something happen to it. That'd be dreadful.
All right, let's get to Patty's question. Patty's looking for help on early removal of poison ivy and sumac. Can it be pulled or cut to stop new growth and spreading? Also, any suggestions on chemical treatment?
So sumac, which is not a poisonous plant, you'd have a little differently than poison ivy. You just want to be really careful with poison ivy. So what you want to do is when things are starting to bud, when they're actively growing, you're going to do a clip with a pruner. Make sure you wear protection, and then you're going to put a herbicide that is formulated to kill stumps. The reason you want the plant to be actively growing is you want it to take in that chemical, that herbicide, into the roots and kill it. And you're probably going to have to do more than one treatment. So just, again, come into the garden center. We can go through the options with you, and it's something you want to be really careful with.
All right.
Because they're strong.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Some good questions today, Lisa.
Yeah.
Thank you for your help.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Let's go to Jacob now for a final check of your forecast.
Thanks, Josh. Over the next 10 days, we're going to have a lot of days feature highs in the 20s and 30s. We'll also see some chances of snow. We'll see a round of snow tomorrow, maybe some light snow Wednesday into Wednesday night. Also some snow over the weekend. It will be warm Friday, but that'll be the only day where we get into the lower 50s and maybe the only day we get into the 40s.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at noon. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful. Our next newscast is live at 4, and you can find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Make it a great afternoon.